Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for checking out Shin88 Gaming. Today, we're going to be checking out a game that I've owned for a long time, but only recently decided to actually play through. And I'll tell you what, I sure am glad I did. This is Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, the HD version. I believe they're calling it the HD Renovation. This is sort of an interesting game that combines a variety of horror tropes and gameplay elements into what I would say is a relatively compact, but still pretty compelling experience.
Hello, I am Spooky. And this is my home. Can you, humble player, make it through 1,000 rooms? Can you find what lies at the end? Or is there even an end? I don't really know. Anyway, just go.
The game balances a lot of humor, atmosphere, and spookiness into a pretty unique package. Spookies was developed by Albino Moose Games, who have, as far as I could find from some quick research, only made this and a work-in-progress retro shooter called Galvanized. The game was actually originally titled Spooky's House of Jump Scares. That's what it was when I initially bought it. That's admittedly a way better title, but I guess they had to change the name after a legal threat from a company called Spooky House Studios. So screw those guys, I guess. Anyways, Spookies came out in 2015 with the HD version coming out in 2017. So like I said, I bought it probably shortly after it came out and really didn't check it out for quite a while. The HD version goes for $10 American, but regularly goes on sale for 50% off during any of your, annual and semi-regular Steam sales. At either price, I think the game is well worth it. By the way, the non-HD version can actually be played for free if you want to give it a shot before you buy. I don't think there's a significant difference between the two, other than some additional content that the HD version has. And then obviously a new coat of paint. So, the basic idea of Spookies is to make your way to the end of 1,000 floors. Now, that may sound like a lot, but as you can probably see from some of the footage playing in the background, most of these floors are cleared pretty quickly. Some can last literally seconds. Much of the game is procedurally generated, and it doesn't actually matter which path you choose if you're given multiple options. So you'll be seeing some of the same rooms, but although most of the rooms can go by in literally a matter of seconds, there's actually a decent variety of environments that keep the formula from getting super stale. There are a number of basic rooms that you'll encounter multiple times throughout the experience, but there are enough different rooms that it's not like, oh, here I am again. There are quite a few different sort of themes, or I guess tile sets that you go through. You've got a basic castle, a mine, you got some sci-fi inspired areas, some industrial areas, it's pretty varied. The music is sort of lo-fi in nature, and it's not necessarily super memorable, but it definitely enhances the atmosphere. So as you're making your way through the 1,000 rooms or so, every 50 rooms or so, you're thrown some sort of curveball. These are basically special rooms that break up the basic game progression and generally come with some sort of light puzzle element or something similar. It may be something like needing to find a number of key cards, navigating a maze. You may have to figure out how to get past a particularly persistent enemy. Although I'd say you can pretty quickly and mindlessly make your way through a lot of the basic rooms, these require you to slow down a little bit and put in a little bit of thought. Just like with most of the game, none of these really outstay their welcome, and I was always surprised and interested in kind of what would be coming next. That said, environments are not the only things that are in this game. Throughout the game, you're going to encounter a variety of monsters, or specimens as they're called, to deal with. They start out fairly basic, and you might get the impression that they're all going to be kind of boring. The first one that you encounter is like a green slime ghost that can pass through walls and slow you down, and then there's like a spider centipede creature that comes out of the ceiling. But as you start to encounter more and more of these, they get a little bit more interesting. This is probably the coolest part of the game, is just seeing the different enemies and environments. The game pulls inspiration from numerous horror tropes, especially for the monsters. So you've got a puppet that stabs you if you turn your back on it. You have the obligatory female Japanese ghost. You have this weird deer cryptid creature. There's a monster inspired by John Carpenter's The Thing that you have to not get too far ahead of, or it will basically send a fast-moving thing to attack you. There's a boss enemy that pulls from like the creepypasta concept. And there are plenty of others that I'm not going to spoil, but just know most of them are interesting, and you often have to adjust your playstyle when dealing with them. It's not always just a matter of run as fast as you can, which is what I was afraid it was going to be when I first started the game. One of the things I actually like most about Spookies is the constantly shifting tone. So, like, 1 minute you'll be reading journal entries about fast food workers who encounter a demonic presence. Then you'll be conversing with a talking cat who tries to make you question the nature of reality. Then you'll read a story about a puppet master who abducted all the children from a village. And then you'll be jump scared by a cardboard cutout of a piece of toast with a frowny face. And then maybe you'll come across an arcade and be playing a more murderous version of Pac-Man. Surprisingly, this constantly shifting tone kind of works. I wouldn't say the game is necessarily scary, and it more goes for atmosphere and kind of the sense of anticipation of what comes next. While some of the monster designs are cool and kind of creepy, I wouldn't say this is a game that'll make you jump out of your seat or anything. But I don't think that's really the point. What about replay value? So you're probably not going to find yourself doing like 50 playthroughs in a row, but I think there's enough here to warrant a playthrough or two. Most of the special rooms are going to come at set intervals, and I believe in the same order. The other stuff, of course, being randomly generated. There's also a complete second campaign that I haven't actually tried as of yet, but I imagine that one's probably a similar length. But if you look at the $5 to $10 price tag, it took me about 3 hours to complete my first playthrough, and that was with only a handful of deaths or restarts, because it's not a super difficult game, but it throws you some curveballs every once in a while. But yeah, $5 to $10 for 3 hours or maybe 6 hours of gameplay, not a bad deal in my book. Worth noting, by the way, that the game saves every 50 floors or so, so you don't have to do that 3 hours in one sitting. You can very easily just walk away and come back to it when you want to. So, all that said, what is the final verdict on Spookies? Well, in my opinion, this is kind of a weird little gem of a game. I wouldn't say it's necessarily obscure, but maybe doesn't get the credit it deserves. It's quirky, atmospheric, occasionally funny, and occasionally spooky, for lack of a better word. Highly recommended. I would say that if you're not really sure if you're going to like this game, get it on sale. But I wouldn't feel bad if I paid full price for it. So that, friends, is Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. If you're interested in seeing more of the game, I'll also be uploading a long play. So that's like all the way through with no commentary. You'll get to see kind of how the game flows, the ending, and all that stuff. Check it out if that sounds interesting. Otherwise, I suppose I will see you on the next video, where we will check out something completely different. If you like this kind of content, please let me know down in the comments. And if you have any suggestions for games you'd like to see me check out, feel free to leave those as well. Obviously, I'll see if they look interesting or if I can make any interesting content from them, but always open to suggestions. I'm always looking for weird little gems like this one. That's about all I had for you today. If you made it this far, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks for checking out Shinsen88 Gaming. Take care. God bless.
So, you made it this far. That's great. I shall grant you a gift for your progress. So just keep going,